Good afternoon, everyone. This is John, the blind coaster fanatic here. And this is the first video in a series about my implant progress, my cochlear implant progress. I have decided to make this a weekly thing that I will do most Mondays. Next week will be different because I have a follow-up session on October the 16th with the audiologist, so I figured that to be more accurate, I will vlog next week's video after the mapping session, which will be on a Wednesday. So a couple of things. First of all, I really want to thank everybody for the support that I got last week, especially when I posted that activation video. That was very much appreciated, and I was overwhelmed at how many views it got. I honestly wasn't expecting it to get as much traction as it did. So I was asked several questions, particularly by my Facebook friends, and I'm going to try my best to do this. Now, first of all, I am wearing a sweatband that the kind of thing that athletes use when they are out doing stuff, you know, doing active activities. And the reason is because I have the standard magnet is too weak. And I'll explain what I mean in a minute, how the external part of a cochlear implant works. But the standard magnet is too weak. Now, on Friday morning, I'm going to get a stronger one. And you know, in my Friday video, you may see, those of you who are sighted may see the new magnet. You know, if it gets fitted on, you will see the new magnet. But anyway, just so everybody knows why you see a sweatband when I'm in my apartment. And by the way, it is a beautiful day here. High of only 69, really nice breeze. We're going to get into the 40s tonight. There's a cold front that's going to be here for most of the week. I already put my electric blanket back on my bed. In the winter time, in fall and winter, I sleep with a heated blanket on my bed. And but it's weird because I was talking to somebody in the hospital today, in the medical center, and they told me that we're going to have highs in the 80s again next week. So who the heck knows? You know, it just, this time of year in Louisville can be unpredictable. You know, it doesn't really get cold here until, I think, until like late November, early December. You know, that's when it starts getting cold. But but every year's different. So, you know, who knows? I mean, I remember the first year I was here, we had highs in the 40s, I think, on Thanksgiving. So it, you know, it really depends. So anyway, I want to answer a couple of questions that I got from Facebook friends. By the way, if you hear some bass in the background, I'm really sorry. I think my neighbor downstairs may have his stereo on, so I apologize if you can hear that. Anyway, so first of all, I want to explain what the external part of the implant actually looks like, because I wasn't able to do that on the video last week for obvious reasons on the activation. So, if you're a hearing aid wearer, and you wear behind the ear hearing aids, you will know, because I'll explain that for those that wear behind the ear hearing aids first. If you imagine your hearing aid, but with a little wire tail on it, with a magnet on the end of it that is on top, and it's a little bit larger if you use the extended life rechargeable batteries like I do. It's actually it's slim, but it's also a little bit bulky, you know, when you put it on, because it's got a big old rechargeable battery. And it's a little bit different because what you do with the processor is it sits on top of your head the way that a BTE hearing aid would. the coil with the magnet on the end is on top. And what you do is you line up the magnet, the external magnet, with the magnet that is in your skull. So I have a magnet that is in my skull that is connected to an internal processor under the skin, which is connected to electrodes that were put around the cochlea on my right ear. And the electrodes stimulate the auditory nerve. So the way that it works is that the external sound processor sends sound to the internal processor, which converts it to electrical signals, which it sends to the electrodes in the implant, which stimulate the auditory nerve. It does not restore natural hearing. It delivers sound in a different way. That's what it does. I am wearing a traditional hearing aid on the ear that does not have an implant. I'm wearing a behind the ear hearing aid on that ear. And it's helping because I can have a better idea of what things sound like with the hearing aid, because the implant right now is still sounding extremely robotic. And it's very unnatural sounding. So for people that do not wear behind the ear hearing aids, if you have seen over the ear headphones, the kinds of headphones that wrap around your ear, that's kind of what the external processor looks like. It sits on top of the ear. Now I am reusing my hearing aids, the ear mold that came from my hearing aids, the part that went in the ear canal. I am using that as a retention device for the processor. So when people look at it, until they look closely, it looks like I have a hearing aid. And then when they look at it, they see the wire on top, and then the magnet, and then, oh, he has a cochlear implant. And the two magnets have to touch in order for me to hear sound. And that's the issue I'm having right now, is that the standard magnet is too weak because I have thick skin. And so I have to get a stronger magnet, which will be given to me on Friday morning by my audiologist. So hopefully I won't have to wear this sweatband all the time after I get the stronger magnet. One thing that I will say, like the sweatband that I have, the threads will get tangled up sometimes in the magnet when I try to pull it off, and then the magnet falls off and I lose sound and whatever. So a couple of questions. One of the big things that I was asked last week by some fellow blind people, and this is a valid point. They said, this sounds like what it would be for, if we somehow got something that could restore our sight. Do you think it would be a similar experience? I would say I really don't know the answer to that question, because everybody responds differently to cochlear implants. The big thing for me is that I can hear sounds now that I have not been able to hear in a long time. But it is not natural hearing. It mimics natural hearing, but it is not natural hearing. When I take the implant off, I'm deaf in my right ear. I am actually deaf in my right ear. So I have no natural hearing left in that ear. I woke up from surgery with no hearing left. And so I do not think it would be the same experience as restored vision. I don't think it would be. I mean, is there a learning curve? Absolutely. It's going to take me a few weeks to a few months to get acclimated to wearing this implant. Second, it depends on the person. There are people who have extraordinary results. There are a handful of people that do experience almost instant recall when their implant is activated, and it works good for them. But for the vast majority of people, there is a learning curve. I would say about 99.9% there is a learning curve. And that's why I'm wearing the hearing aid on the other ear. It is to assist in helping me figure stuff out. And also, I can return to my job, which I will be doing tomorrow, which I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I will be wearing the hearing aid. The only time that I will only be wearing the implant is when I am doing when I'm trying to adjust to hearing with the implant only, and learning how to discern speech with it, which I listen to, when I listen to audiobooks, that's what I do. I only use the implant. Even though the sound is unnatural right now, I am slowly beginning to pick out words, very slowly. And I'm using books that I've read before. So it's not like I'm in new territory. And what I had to do, because of how I reacted last Monday to the activation experience, when I couldn't separate volume from pitch, we had to cut back on what she originally wanted to do. And so she set, there's four different presets in the sound processor, and she set each one progressively louder until the fourth one is the volume that she wanted me to be at. And every 2 days last week, I had to change programs. So Monday and Tuesday was the softest one. Wednesday and Thursday was 2. Friday and Saturday was 3. Yesterday and today was 4. And I'm staying on 4 until she says otherwise. However, when I first got on 4 yesterday, I noticed that it was not as unpleasant. Things are still very, very shrill sounding and very unnatural sounding, but I am comfortable at this volume now. Things can still be startling. I can tell you one thing that I'm noticing right now, even like when I have the left hearing aid in and I hear these shrill frequencies, the left-hand side, I'm beginning to hear higher frequencies a little bit more clearly. Now, my hearing aid and my sound processor are linked to each other, so they talk to each other. They sync their settings to the best of their ability. My hearing aid is older than the sound processor, so it has some limitations. One of the things that I really enjoy about having the two devices connected to my iPhone is that I can control what sounds go to either the hearing aid or the implant. So like on weekdays when I go to work, I have a routine where I wake up and watch a BBC News bulletin, and then I watch the local news mainly to get the weather report. And so what I really like is that I can have the television go only to the hearing aid and use the implant for ambient sounds. I can set them both up to do that, but music sounds horrible through the implant, and I'm really not comfortable listening to TV or gaming through the implant right now. That will come, but just not right now. Not for a few weeks at least. So a couple of things about a few observations that I will say. So last week was, there were days when it was not pleasant. I spent pretty much all of last week listening to audiobooks, except for a couple of hours a day with my hearing aid so that I could listen to music and whatever. But It was, it was okay. And like I said, I'm slowly beginning to pick out words again, but it's very slow going. Today was my first extended use of both the implant and the hearing aid because I had my post-op follow-up with the surgeon, and I got cleared to return to work, which I will be doing tomorrow. I will be returning to work tomorrow. The original plan was to have me take off for most of the month of October to get used to having the implant, but the more that I thought about it, and be on short-term disability, but the more that I thought about it, the more I'm like, I need to be in environments that I am usually in and not just my apartment to be to get used to wearing the implant. So, and when my extension only got approved until today, when my disability claim only got approved until today, I decided that the best thing to do would be to return to work tomorrow. Now, I will be talking about my return to work on next week's implant update. And it's already messing with my directionality. I was trying to find the elevator in the medical center today, and I was walking around. I could hear the elevator dinging, but I didn't know where it was. Even with only one hearing aid, I could not tell where the elevator was, and so I was just walking around the lobby trying to find it. And someone finally found me, and it turned out that I was on the wall where the elevator was. And he showed me where the call button was, and then I wound up and someone wound up walking me up to the suite that I needed to be in, which was very nice. They have great staff in that particular medical center. They're really good. And the post-op went really good. He found no problems except for the weak magnet, which I'm getting replaced, and he was happy about that. But it was more just kind of following up, and we did talk about my second implantation, and it will be in 2025. We don't know when in 2025, but I have decided to go for a second implant in 2025, depending on my outcomes with this one. And he thought that was a good idea, but he said, and he just said, give yourself some time and see where you go with this first one. And then if you and your audiologist feel that you're ready for a second one, I will perform your second operation. So yeah, I was very happy about that. That we did talk about the possibility of what is called a bilateral implantation, which is what I was aiming for originally, because I know that the hearing in my left ear is also declining rapidly, but they want me to adjust to having one implant before getting the second one, which I'll be honest with you, after what I experienced last Monday, that makes a lot of sense. It really does. It makes a lot of sense. And I'm very, very thankful that both my audiologist and my surgeon put their feet down when it came to that. So anyway, and yes, for those of you that asked, it will be something that I will have to learn progressively. I will have to get used to. Right now, the thing is just trying to use it a lot so I can get over this freaking robotic sounding stuff. And hopefully I can start understanding words in the next few weeks. This is one of those things where the more you use it, the more you get used to it. And so, yeah, it's... so that's pretty much what's going on. I mean, I can't mess around with any of the fancy settings on my processor yet because I need to get used to hearing with it before we start doing that. Before I can start doing the fancy stuff like the forward focus, where the microphones can zoom in on what's in front of you, and stuff like that. That's right now I need to get used to hearing with it, and then we can start using those. The one thing that we did do is we paired my assistive listening devices that I already had with the implant. That wasn't in the video last Monday, but we did that later on. So I can use the assistive listening equipment that I already have, the device that I have connected to the TV, and my communications equipment, my microphones, and stuff like that. That was the concession that we made, is that we did pair those. And I'll be using one of those microphones when I go back to work. So anyway, yeah. So that's really about it. I'm going to be on weeknights where when I have to go to work the next day. I typically am in bed between 7 and 7:30 p.m. So it's going to be a very early night for me. It's going to be like right after I make this video, I'm going to upload it, have dinner, and then just start winding down for the night. Because I have to be up pretty early tomorrow. I have to be at work by 7, but I'm very slow to get out of bed, so I get up very early. So hold on, I'm turning my chair around. So that's what's going on there. But other than that, there's really, I hope that answers a lot of questions. Oh, and the Nucleus 8, the sound processor that I have, it can connect to Bluetooth LE and Auracast equipped devices. So I can interface it with other devices, smartphones, iPhone, certain Android phones, TVs, stuff like that. Now I have a box that from the time that I wore hearing aids, I have a device that I connect to my TV, and that's how I watch TV right now, because the TV that I have does not support Auracast, but my hearing aid doesn't support Auracast either. So I am waiting until I get the second implant before I get a TV that supports Auracast, and then I can just connect wirelessly to the TV without having to do a third-party box. But so anyhow, I have not gone through the Cochlear Implant backpack that they gave me, because I got a whole backpack full of parts, including a second processor, which I can wear off ear so that it doesn't sit on top of my head. So it doesn't sit on top of my ear, but we're not doing that until I have a long-term map in place. And when we program these implants, they're called mappings, because what we're doing is we're mapping the electrodes to different frequencies, so that they can stimulate the auditory nerve at different frequencies. And so, and by the way, can you hear? No, it's not staticky or anything like that. It's not that at all. It's far from it. And he also told me that I could start riding rides again in November. He was just concerned about, he wants the tissue to scar around the implant, the internal part, to hold it in place, if I get what he was saying correctly. And so he's just like, look, I know that's important to you, but give yourself a little bit more time, and then you can do it again, and then you can start doing it again. I also cut my own hair, and he said, wait one more week, and then you can do that. So next week I'll be cutting my hair. Now I will warn everybody that I do very close cuts. I practically shave my head. So when I cut it, you will know, the sighted viewers will know what I did. So anyhow, that is really about it. It's been a week. I'm slowly starting to comprehend things again, but the key word is slowly. It's very slow. I know that when I go back to work, that will help a lot, because in my proofreading job, I have to do a lot of talking. And so I know that hearing myself talk will help a lot. And so that will be good. I'm not ready to get back into console gaming yet. Into console gaming, I know that I have fellow gamers who are subscribed to me that are wondering about that. I will not be doing games for probably a few months, a few more months at least. It feels weird having my PS5 and Xbox just sitting there, but I need time before I get back into gaming again. So just I'll be back online, but it may not even be till like maybe January, February 2025. So it's hard to say. My main focus right now is learning how to understand speech through the implant, and I'm going to focus on ambient sounds later and things like that. Music is horrible through the implant right now. Like it's actually unpleasant, which is why I use the hearing aid when I want to listen to music. That's I use the hearing aid only. Although what I can do is I can stream to the hearing aid and not to the implant sound processor, thanks to the MFI feature on the iPhone. So what I could try doing one time is just doing music and keeping the implant on. But I don't know if I'm comfortable doing that just yet. Now, when the University of Texas plays the University of Oklahoma on Saturday, I probably will do that because I really want to watch that game. I really want to watch that game, and so I might do that on Saturday. Just have the hearing aid play the game and the implant for ambient sounds. But we will see how it plays out. So yeah. By the way, I am using the iPhone SE for this video, like I do with with my talking videos. Will the GoPro be used again? Absolutely. But I don't feel the need to use the GoPro right now when all I'm doing is just sitting here talking. I don't see the need for it. So that's why that's why I'm not using it. That's about all I have, really. I really do not have a lot else to talk about as far as this goes. But I again want to thank everybody, not only for your subscribing to this channel, but also for the support that you gave me last week. I was very overwhelmed at the views that my activation video got. So thank you for that, and I appreciate that. And the reason that I'm doing these videos is because I want people to understand a deaf-blind person's journey with cochlear implants. There are plenty of people who have been implanted on YouTube. Some of them I even watched. There was Brian. I think it was called. I think it was Life of. No, it wasn't Life of Brian. I can't remember what his name was. His name is Brian. He's in Canada. He's a good one. There's also a woman in the UK that also chronicled her cochlear implant experience. I forgot her name. I think it's Vanessa, but I can't remember who. She was actually the one that inspired me to vlog my activation experience because she did it herself. So she was the one that actually inspired me to do that. And I think it's called Cochlear Life with Brian, I think is what that one channel's called. And then the other one, I can't remember what the woman's YouTube channel is, but it's a really good one. It was both of those channels were very informative, and they gave me a lot of information that helped me come to a decision about doing this. And I will be honest with you, there have been emotional times where I'm like, why did I do this again? Because this sounds so weird. But I also, and I was fine with the right hearing aid, but in reality, I was not fine. And something needed to be done, or I would probably have gone deaf very quickly because my hearing was going fast. and I was at the point where I'm at the point where hearing aids are no longer working. In the left ear where I have the hearing aid, that is at the edge of okay. It's when I took the hearing test earlier this year, it was at, I believe, 70%, but it's 70% comprehension, but it's going down. And that's why I am going to get a second implant. We just have to figure out when, because I have to get used to having one first. And like I said, after what I experienced last week, that makes complete sense. So before I close out, something else to expect. I'm going to be doing fun videos every Friday. You know, last Friday I talked about how I became a throw ride enthusiast. I'm going to do fun videos every Friday, kind of just chatting it up, doing general chat, talking about some of my other interests. I am into the pipe organ. I play the pipe organ, and I'm also into it. I love it. I am an amateur radio operator. Hello to Shane over at Adventures in Blind Videography. He is also a ham. And I may talk about some other things that I enjoy doing too, and maybe do some general chats, stuff like that. So you have that to look forward to. I don't know what my topic is going to be this Friday. I'm trying to figure out what my topic is going to be this coming Friday. I'm not going to talk about returning to work because that will be in next week's implant update vlog. There's going to be two distinct segments on this channel. One, telling you about my implant progress, and second will be just fun general chat and stuff. Maybe some technology demos. Who knows? I don't know. And maybe some interviews. Stuff like that. Who knows? So you have that to look forward to. I will think of something and we'll discuss it on Friday. It will be uploaded sometime on Friday. Friday morning, I have to go get the new magnet for the implant, for the processor, which I'm already very excited about. We have that to look forward to. But I'm not going to be vlogging that. Because all I'm doing, I'm going in there, she's going to put it on, and then we're leaving and then I'm leaving because my mapping appointment is next Wednesday. So that's going to be the serious one. Friday, they're just trying to help me faster by getting me a stronger magnet faster. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to Shane, Adventures in Blind Videography. It was really great tuning into your live stream today. I was actually in the waiting room listening to your live stream and interacting with you. I was in the surgeon's office on the medical center's Wi-Fi when you were streaming. So that's where I was, just so you know. And it was really great to be able to tune into one of your streams. And hello to the Drone Dad. Thanks for your subscription. I know you heard about me through him. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. Hopefully Shane and I can get together and have a general chat one of these days. We can do a joint interview. So that would be a lot of fun. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I will have another implant progress update next week. But in the meantime, you can look forward to something fun on Friday. Like I said, I will think of a topic and do something. So anyway, thanks again, everybody, for watching, and hope you all have a wonderful week. Take care.